poor homeless woman walked into a busy restaurant. She looked around and noticed a table with a plate of leftover food. She slowly sat down and started eating because she was starving. A waitress rushed over and asked, "What are you doing?" The woman looked at her with tears in her eyes and said, "Please let me eat. I'm very hungry." The waitress picked up the plate and even took away her glass of water before walking away. A few seconds later, another waitress came over and said, "Who let you in? You need to leave right now." Before the woman could stand up, the first waitress returned carrying a fresh hot meal. She placed it on the table and smiled. "Come over here and enjoy this meal." The woman shook her head and said, "I don't have any money." The waitress smiled and replied, "You don't need money. Just sit down and eat." The woman gratefully sat at the table and started eating. From across the restaurant, the owner quietly watched everything. The second waitress walked over to the kind waitress and whispered, "Why did you give her free food?" The kind waitress calmly answered, "Because she's hungry." The owner walked over and asked, "What's going on?" The second waitress quickly said, "She gave that homeless woman a free meal." The kind waitress looked at the owner and said, "If that's a problem, you can take the money out of my paycheck. No one deserves to stay hungry." The owner looked at her for a moment and finally said, "Tell her to finish her meal before more customers arrive." The kind waitress gently told the woman, "Please finish your meal and then you can leave." Just then, a customer walked into the restaurant. She looked at the homeless woman and said, "If people like her are eating here, we're leaving." She turned around and walked out. The second waitress became angry and shouted, "See what happened? Now leave." The homeless woman slowly stood up, but the kind waitress stopped her. "No. Please finish your meal first." After finishing her food, the woman quietly asked, "Could you please pack the leftovers for me?" The waitress took the plate to the kitchen, but instead of packing the leftovers, she filled a bag with fresh hot food and handed it to the woman. With tears in her eyes, the woman thanked her and quietly left. A few days later, a luxury car stopped in front of the restaurant. A beautiful young woman stepped out wearing elegant clothes. The owner warmly hugged her. Both waitresses were shocked. The young woman smiled and said, "My name is Amelia, and this is my mother. We planned everything together. I dressed like a homeless woman because we wanted to test our employees and see how they treat people who have nothing." She looked at the second waitress and said, "You judged me by my appearance, but kindness is more valuable than money." Then she turned to the kind waitress and smiled. "You were even willing to pay for my meal from your own paycheck. That proves you have a kind heart." Amelia looked at her mother and both of them smiled. She announced, "Starting today, you are the head waitress in this restaurant." Then Amelia looked at everyone and said, "From this day on, no poor or hungry person will ever leave our restaurant without food. Everyone deserves respect, kindness, and a warm meal, even if they can't afford to pay."